Once again, God is amazing, as King Hezekiah is about to find out in chapters 36 and 37 of the book of Isaiah, which are reminiscent of 2 Kings 18 through 20 and in part 2 Chronicles 32 in this chapter that we will call Truly, which helps us to see the way in which it can be dangerous for God's people to take refuge in lies. Because at times there are going to be opportunities for the people who don't even acknowledge God or pagans to find strength in the truth. And to the degree we are no longer able to handle the truth effectively, we are super vulnerable. A point that a man we have called in the past an evil genius is going to make abundantly clear in this chapter, where the king of Assyria is going to send one called the Rabshakeh to shake the confidence of the people of Judah pre-invasion, as Assyria is mounting an invasion. Verse 1 is going to say, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and took them. And the king of Assyria sent the Rabshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. First thing to note, it's a whole lot easier to speak truth when the truth is on your side. And even for this pagan king, the fact that he had conquered just about everything leading up to King Hezekiah's doorstep was a simple truth he could rely on. However, in sending the Rabshakeh, he's going to prove to be a wise king, because the Rabshakeh is going to prove to be a wise adversary. As skipping down a little bit, he is going to bring out some truths mixed in with some fiction, but some truths that are fundamentally going to shake the confidence of the people of Judah. Skipping down a ways to, I think it's verse 5, where he is going to talk about the way in which mere words are not going to be strategies and power for war, but sometimes it's more effective when you phrase that kind of thing in a question, which is what he does. Posing the question, are mere words going to provide you strategy and power to resist all the damage that we have caused leading up to this point? As he's going to build upon that by saying, look, you are trusting on Egypt to help you. Is that really going to work out? Or as we've said from time to time, in the words of Dr. Phil back in the day, how's that working out for you? And he's going to have enough proof to suggest that Egypt is not a reliable ally, as he is going to go on to begin to mix in the half-truths with some truth when he says, if you say you trust in the Lord, ask all those other nations how their gods worked out for them, all the nations that they conquered on the way to your doorstep. As he is then going to go on to talk about the way in which, just from a matter of fact, you don't have enough men to even mount up on his extra equipment. Meaning, in verse 9, he's going to say, back up in verse 8, he'll say, I will give you 2,000 horses if you are able on your part to set riders on them. It's an insult when your enemy is actually offering you equipment because they're just that confident. And that confidence is based on facts. As his words up to this point are going to be enough to have Hezekiah's officials ask him, please don't speak to us in a language our people can understand, making him even more emboldened to say, why would I just talk to you when these are the people who are going to be eating and drinking things that nobody's going to want to eat and drink during the days of deprivation under the siege of Jerusalem. As he will not simply speak to the people words of intimidation, but he's going to make them a reasonable offer now that he seems to have them shook and say, it's really not so bad in conquest, understanding that the things we are offering you are better than the things that you might face if you fight. And so understanding all that, he is then going to turn his attention to Hezekiah, challenging the people not to allow Hezekiah to instill false hope in them by telling them that they can trust in God, the untruth that he is now weaving into all these true statements he's made leading up to this point. As we stated earlier, the chapter is actually going to end up stating that if all the gods of all the other nations didn't save them, then once again, in the form of a question, what makes you think your God is going to save you? A question to which, at least at this point, the leaders of Israel have no answer. Reminding me of at least this one bright side, that being that no matter how embarrassing it may seem, there are certain situations in which no answer is a whole lot better than an answer that simply makes things worse. As Hezekiah's wisdom may be seen in his willingness to take this short-term L, avoiding the temptation to invest in some words that would simply damage his credibility in favor of turning to God to show him a greater truth that even a man as wise as the Rabshakeh might have overlooked.